In this video, we would like to give you a sneak peek at the offerings of AION Labs. At AION Labs, we believe in making our customers' lives easier. And that begins from signing up to the platform where you can use your favorite onboarding single sign-on providers to get onto the website, or one can also simply decide to use email and password to log in. Once the email is filled in, one can log in to the user-specific areas of AION Labs, as we shall see shortly. At AION Labs, we believe in making your AI deployment journey as smooth and as easy and as quick as possible. Currently on our platform, we have more than 200 available combination of machines of varying capabilities, as one can see from this particular list. Depending upon what sort of workload or what kind of AI you are deploying, we would be choosing from these available machines, and there would be much more hardware capabilities that would come onto the platform as we progress further in our journey. We use the concept of templates to set up the machines which you decide to deploy your AI on. As you can see over here, we have two sample templates over here, and one is a very basic test template, and another one allows us to evaluate the Quen model on the AION platform quickly. If we go into the details of what is involved in coming up with a template, what we see is that it simply asks you to provide a container image that is available from any of the container repositories online, be it on Azure, be it on Docker, anywhere. And then using that particular template, the machine that you choose to provision would be set up. You do not have to get into the business of coming up with these templates. We would already have pre-designed templates for most of the common use cases that are available out there when it comes to deploying AI models and workloads. However, if you have a need for a custom setting up of the machine that you provision, you can always reach out to us and our team of experts will set the template up for you. Once the template is set up, then we can go ahead and provision a particular machine with that particular template. So for example, if I am to run the Quen model, I would need a machine that has GPU capabilities. I will look at the list and then go ahead and select one of the machines that, let's say for example, currently meets my needs. For example, I will decide that I will go with this particular machine. To be able to provision a machine, we need to provide a name for that particular instance. In here, let me just put in what we want to do such that we know what this machine does. One can also choose the region that is closest to them. For right now, let me choose Los Angeles. And then we choose from the template which we want to use to set the machine up. In this particular case, I will go ahead and use the Quen chat template that we were looking at earlier. Tags are optional, but then it never hurts to provide some, and I would just be giving some basic ones over here. Once we start provisioning, the system is going to take you through the journey of what is happening. So once the instance is provisioned, it has to be activated, and that activation takes around 40 to 45 seconds of time in all normal cases. In certain instances, if the internet connection is slow between the servers and us, then it might take a little while longer, but it almost always takes at maximum 40 to 45 seconds for the instance to be active, like we saw over here. Once the deployment starts, it would totally depend upon the customization of the machine that we have mentioned or set the template up for. And this has two aspects to it. If a machine is being set up for the first time, then the setting up time is something that is going to be comparatively significant. It would be in the minutes, and one can actually go ahead and grab a cup of coffee, and by that time it should be done. During this period of time, as we shall be seeing on the screen over here, that there is always an update on exactly what is going on in the process of setting the machine up and where we are. If there are any errors in this particular process, that would also be something that would be displayed over here, and we would be given the option of retrying. The second part of the problem is, right now we are provisioning all machines from scratch on request. However, as traffic grows and as our capabilities grow, we can maintain warm pool of machines of certain capabilities which can serve ranges of different AI and ML tasks. In which case, once you indicate what you want to do to our system, then one of the pre-provisioned machines from this warm pool would be assigned to you, and your AI model or workload would start running on there as soon as possible. We intend to reduce this start time or the deploy time on the provisioned instance from minutes right now, depending on how the machine is to be set up, to seconds in the near future once we have built that capability up on the hardware side. We will now go through the process of seeing what are the different steps that the system will take us through while deploying the template on the VM that has been provisioned. I will be speeding up this section of the video in the interests of time, and we would again convene once the deployment has been finalized. Now that provisioning is complete, we can go to My Instances and be able to view the machines that we have deployed. As we can see, there is a card for the machine which we have just deployed. And as you can see, the system also keeps a track of the metrics, the performance metrics that are returned from that provisioned instance. But then it takes a little bit of time for that to load up for the first time and become active. So for example, if I were to hit the refresh button over here, now you can see that there are instance metrics which are being streamed from the system for you to keep a track of what is going on performance-wise on your machine. However, for most of us, probably what would be very interesting is to be able to play with the AI or the ML workload which has been deployed on the instance. For example, in here we deployed an instance that can run the Qwen model, and as you can see, it returns an IP address and a port as the endpoint, where we can directly go and play around with the Qwen model in this instance. For example, if I click on this particular link, as we can see, we have now been redirected to a playground where we can test the Qwen model which we deployed. For example, if I were to ask Qwen to introduce itself, let's see what Qwen comes back to us with. In this particular template, we have asked when to be particularly verbose, but then as you can see, the templates can be handcrafted and also can be generic and can then be set up the way that the user wants to interact with whatever workload is being run on the VMs that the customer would provision. I can also go into my bills and see what sort of charges are being levied on me for using the particular platform and the various instances and workloads that I am running at any point. If I go to my bills, we would see that there would be a summary and then a line item view of also what we have been doing. And this billing is something that we update in the granularity of seconds, which is a level of transparency that is unavailable on any of the other equivalent systems that might be available in different geographies at this point. This affords transparency to the end user as to what sort of costs they might expect at the end of a particular time cycle, be it a day, a week, or a month, and also allows them to keep a track of the predicted bills they might get during this period of time. To round this off, now we will go into one of the principal features of this particular platform, which is the AionGent. This is a custom trained model which is still being worked on in the AION Labs, and what this is used for is it helps the end customer specify in absolutely natural language what they want to do, and the model then can provide the customer choices of different models they can use to bring their vision to reality, and also the machines that might be capable of running those models at various different price points. So we provide low, medium, and high price tiers when suggesting the machines that the customer can use to run the suggested models. Right now, there are still certain rough edges which we are working at AION Labs to iron out. So this model might not return results as expected, but we will see. At a later stage, the idea in the pipeline is to not just stop at the model providing suggestions, but then once the suggestion is read by the customer and the customer decides on the machine and the model they are going to use, this AionGent is going to be able to spin up a template and then the corresponding machine and provision the template on that machine and provide the user with an endpoint directly where they can use it to either play around with the workload they have deployed or directly use it in their business, in their app, or wherever they might want to have the introduction of AI and the use of it. As we can see that AionGent is connected, and to AionGent, I will now ask what it might take for me to deploy a video AI influencer, for example, and I would want it to deploy it in, let's say, Western US. Let's see if the model can process my request. The model comes back with a particular reply, and let me go through what it is asking me to do. It is asking me for a specific region. Let me put in California. And the model has come back to me with its suggestions. So as we can see, the model suggests three tier of capabilities when it suggests the possible models which can do what I want to do. That's low, medium, and high, and also provides the links from where those models might be downloaded or can be found. And then it also recommends in three different price and capability tiers the machines that are currently available on the platform which might be used to deploy those workloads. The place where AionGent comes in as the most useful thing is that for a broad section of users, we will know what we want to do, but we might not be entirely clear as to how to do it. And especially on any platform, since right now we have more than 200 different combinations and capabilities of machines available to provision. At a later point in time, this number might go in the thousands. How would an user from a list of all those 1,000 machines on this particular platform be able to figure out that what machine has the proper size and in the proper price range for that user to optimally deploy their workloads in the cloud? That is where AionGent comes in. It is continuously trained on user requirements. It is continuously updated with any new flavor of model that comes out in this particular industry, so that it exactly knows that for that particular model, what might be the sizing of the machine that would be required to run it at a particular performance level. So in a nutshell, that is the AION Labs platform offering right now, where we want to make the process of taking you from zero to AI enabled as frictionless as possible. Thank you. We hope to see you on our platform very soon.